Hi there people, how's it going? Just taking a walk in the rain here in North Canterbury. Pissing down again. Plenty of rain recently. Today I went to Christchurch. Beautiful day. Busy, so busy everywhere. Went to Rickton Moor, Hornby Moor. Visited a family member. But anyway, it's Christmas, isn't it? But on the way there, I listened to James Delingpole. Now, many of you will have heard of James Delingpole because I think I've mentioned him before. James Delingpole is an Oxford-educated, Oxford in England, not New Zealand, journalist, and he was in Oxford with many of the toffs who now rule, or did rule, now rule, and will continue to rule the UK. People like David Cameron, Michael Gove, Boris Johnson, many others. But James Delingpole became a journalist in the days when journalists were journalists, not propagandists. And now James Delingpole is fully red-pilled. And believe it or not, he's further down the rabbit hole than me. And he's great. I love listening to him because he's so easy to listen to. He's not like your typical, what's his name, Sean Plunkett or Michael Laws, pair of pricks who pretend to be of the right and open-minded, and they're not. They're left-wing. Who, you know, one time out of 10 they might do a good interview, and the other 9 are just shit. And they call people like myself either far right or conspiracy theorists and whatever, you know what I mean. But James Delingpole, he's one of us. He's fully on the fence. Fully on the fence. Fully on our side of the fence, should I say. Today he spoke to Andrew Bridgen. And Andrew Bridgen is a North Leicestershire Conservative MP. And he's become a bit of a rebel and a bit of a hot potato in the UK at the minute because, well, he's upset the Tory party because he said a few home truths. And it was just a few days ago where he stood up in the House of Parliament and gave a speech. 17 minutes, I think it was. And that speech is heavily censored, would you believe, on Google. When you search for it, it's heavily shadow banned because he talks about the injuries of you know what and how multi-billionaires and big tech, big pharma have colluded with World Health Organization, United Nations, WEF, and politicians, leaders of nations, to do what they did over the last 2.5, 3 years. Hence, he's a hot topic, but not very popular at all. So yeah, you could say his career is as good as over. But I think he's going to be on the right side of history at some stage. I'll leave a link below of the James Delingpole chat with him, because it is the chat. It's very, very laissez-faire kind of, just like having a chat in a coffee shop or a bar or something like that. It's great. He's just got a great way about him. Like I say, I'll leave a link below. And but it just makes me wonder. These politicians are waking up. Not enough of them. 1 or 2 in New Zealand, but they're just too scared in New Zealand to, I don't know, they say things, but they just don't go far enough for me. You know, his name's Simon O'Connor. 1 or 2 others. They don't go far enough. But anyway. But he named names. Andrew Bridgen, And James Delingpole. Something's got to give at some stage. Something really has to give. And these people, I'll say it, Bill Gates, who owns the World Health Organization, who own governments, who own pandemic response, who tell prime ministers and presidents what to do. Bill Gates funds them. Bill Gates became 50 to 100% richer in the last 2-3 years. Would you believe that? Not only did he become richer, much richer, 50% richer, 50% more, but the other multi-billionaires became much richer too. A lot of politicians did too, would you believe? Who had a hand in, oh, I don't know, all the safety equipment, masks, and the like. Became very, 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 very rich. Seems they all, not all, many of them had their hands in the till. It's good. The interview goes on to talk about how the media are all in on it as well, and how these multi-billionaires have nobbled the media, governments, prime ministers, everything has been corrupted. So these multi-billionaires become richer basically. And what happens? Now they know exactly how the public work, how the public think, and how easily they can be manipulated. You have to say somewhere between 80-85% will believe anything Bill Gates tells them, Klaus Schwab tells them, Jacinda Ardern, Justin Trudeau, thick as pig shit, tells them. They will believe anything. Because it's easier. It's just easier to be a sheep than to be a lion. And what's next? They're already planning more lockdowns. For what's it going to be next? Pandemic? No, that didn't quite work. But we know how other people think. Ah, yes, climate change. Climate change lockdowns. And apparently there's people on Facebook promoting, oh, I'm going to live in my 20-minute zone, my 15-minute zone. Look at me. Look at me, I've had my vaccination. How fucking stupid are people, eh? How sheep-like and stupid. And yet these people who would do that are university educated. So how did they become stupid? Did they go to university to become stupid? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? But these multi-billionaires, they hold the world to ransom. And it's spoken about in that interview, that chat between James Delingpole and Andrew Bridgen. Something has to give at some stage, because more people are waking up. Dr. Fauci has become a very, very wealthy man. And he's got his hand deep inside this, hasn't he? Deep. How many people have been injured, killed? How many people have committed suicide? Not to mention the psychological damage. Children, people locked up in their homes, people not allowed to see their loved ones in hospital. What's the cost of that damage? And these people laughing all the way to the bank. Andrew Bridgen talks about when he went to 10 Downing Street, and when they had political meetings and the BBC were there, TV cameras. And when the TV cameras were pointing in a certain direction, the Prime Minister and his health experts would put masks on and talk to the TV cameras. But behind the cameras, cabinet ministers, all rubbing shoulders, no masks. No masks at all, because they knew it was all fake. The whole thing was a charade. One huge lie, nothing to fear at all. And yet, they pushed people, destroyed lives, people lost their jobs, people got ridiculed. Families ripped apart, friendships destroyed. And these people knew all the time. All the time. They knew it was one huge hoax. So what's going to be the penalty? What is it going to be? Is jail? Can we jail them all? How many are involved? Hundreds of thousands? I'm talking about media, journalists, luminaries, celebrities. You can't put them all in jail. Politicians, prime ministers, presidents, big tech company CEOs. You can't put them all in jail. This is the greatest crime ever committed against the human race. It really is. It has to be. And they did it for money. They did it to gauge people's reaction. And they did to gauge people's future reactions for future lockdowns. Climate change lockdowns. Because they know roughly 80% of the population are going to capitulate to whatever they say. Because 80% of the population are like sheep, they'll believe anything. But more and more people are waking up. I was going to share with you what I would like to see happen, but that would get me arrested. You can just, if you could read my mind, you'd know what I'd like to see to these prime ministers and these presidents and these big tech multi-billionaires, journalists, editors, celebrities, talk show hosts, anyone who is in a power of influence. What they did, they are guilty of a crime well beyond, what I believe, murder. Well beyond. Anyway, I think I've said enough. Check out the link below to James Delingpole and follow him. And if you comment on his show, tell him Cross the Rubicon sent you. Lee Williams. James Delingpole makes a podcast once a week, sometimes twice. But in February, I think it is, he's going to get together with Neil Oliver. Would you believe? James Delingpole and Neil Oliver. That's two huge heavyweights of the red pill movement in the UK. That's quite a big force. Two super academics who are on my side of the fence and your side of the fence if you're watching this. So, this is Cross the Rubicon. Please like, leave a comment, share my videos everywhere. subscribe. And if you want to buy me a coffee or a beer or donate a house in Queensland or anywhere else in the world overlooking the ocean and New Zealand, feel free. I'll leave your details below. Okay, see you later.